Our story kicks off in the familiar setting of a gaming room where Akira was dominating, until he was suddenly hit with the dreaded "you have been disconnected" message. Back in the real world, we quickly realize Akira doesn't have much to care about. His house looks like a landfill, and his life seems as messy as his surroundings. Still, the guy rocks his signature coat like a boss, and while his classmates think he's a weird loner glued to his phone, Akira maintains his status as a straight-A student. He's hooked on gaming, and as someone who spends a lot of time on electronics, I totally get his need to escape the dullness of reality. Then one day on his way to school, things take a turn. Akira is ambushed by a creepy figure straight out of a horror flick. Like any hero in these kinds of stories, he bolts, only to end up in an abandoned building. There, he sets a couple of traps, but the creature is tougher than he expected. No matter, Akira pulls out a spear and goes gladiator mode, stabbing the monster right in the heart. Victory? Nope. Enter Mion, the magician-style woman who kills him on the spot, sealing his fate. But before slipping into unconsciousness, Akira declares, "This isn't game over. I'm going to win." His last wish being to find a new game to escape the bleakness of his world. When he wakes up, Akira finds himself in a mysterious facility with other dead individuals. Mion, cold and calculating, informs them they're considered deceased by the government and will now be participants in a cruel experimental program. They're not just dead, they've lost all rights. To demonstrate, Mion uses a random thug to show she means business. The cat girl then explains that the cuffs they wear suppress their abilities. When the cuffs turn green, they're free to unleash their powers. After the briefing, Akira heads to his room, under the ever-watchful eyes of the cat girl's security cameras. While he's still confused about his new abilities, his next-door neighbor is already testing his power. The neighbor knocks Akira back into reality. Not everyone here is playing nice. Akira realizes he needs to play this game his way, no matter the odds. The first round is a one-on-one battle, and Akira faces off against Kurosaki, a delinquent who immediately offers Akira an easy out. Surrender and save everyone time. Akira, though, refuses. When the countdown hits 0, the cuffs are off and Kurosaki pulls out a sword. Akira dodges and uses the environment to his advantage. But when he runs into another room to set up his next move, he traps Kurosaki with clever tricks, waiting for the perfect moment to use his ability. Kurosaki doesn't believe Akira's ability is anything special, but Akira knows it's dangerous. As the fight intensifies, Akira raises his hand, hinting that his power is similar to the cat girl's cannon. In a flash, his hand transforms into a cannon, and he defeats Kurosaki, forcing a surrender. Mion, watching from the sidelines, explains that Akira's ability isn't a simple cannon. It's called Deceive. To activate it, Akira has to make his opponent believe he has whatever power he wants. A subtle, complex ability, but deadly when used right. And so we meet the next key character, Yuri, a high school girl who absolutely despises the word accidental. It's clear after her interaction with Adogo, nothing ever seems to go her way, and she's not having it. To make things even worse, Yuri had started developing trust issues after one incident. She had helped a guy who was being ignored by everyone. Unfortunately, this guy turned out to be a mega simp, following her around obsessively like a fly. The only place Yuri could find some peace was her home, but even that wasn't safe. Her mother constantly brought men over. Yes, you heard that right. Her mother belonged to the streets, and Yuri found herself trapped in that same cycle. One day, Yuri found the guy she'd helped standing at the edge of a building, ready to end it all. Being the good person she is, she rushed to talk him down. But instead of listening, he took her hand and jumped off, trying to mirror the tragic love story of Romeo and Juliet. Miraculously, Yuri survived, but now with a strange new ability to see a little girl she had been caring for. This girl was the daughter of her mother's latest boyfriend, and during her stay, Yuri had grown close to her, especially after witnessing the abuse the girl endured, which made Yuri reflect on her own painful childhood. Fast forward to the present, Yuri's first competition is a 1v1 duel. While Akira faces a cool opponent, Yuri's foe is a grotesque middle-aged man who can smell people's emotions. Perfect for a creep like him. In a shocking twist, he strips down, forcing Yuri to battle him while he's completely naked. As the fight unfolds, we flash back to his dark history of abuse, making Yuri snap. She overpowers the vile man, breaking his arm and sending him packing with a defiant, "Kiss my ass, I'm taking control of my destiny." Determined to clear the game and return to the girl she's grown attached to, Yuri faces the second challenge, a 5v5 team competition. Now she's with Akira and two other guys, all in the same room. The icebreaker is a strange introduction by the old guy, whom we'll call Rope Seller due to his ability to turn things into ropes. The group shares their abilities. Yuri can quadruple her power, Akira can turn sticks into blades, Shin can become invincible for 2 seconds, and the Rope Seller's ability is, well, you get it. After introductions, Akira cleverly avoids revealing his power, instead asking Kirasaki about his injuries, showing his subtle dominance. Soon they're called to the battlefield, one-on-one matches with a twist. The losing team faces a mysterious punishment. The first battle is a shocker when Rope Seller faces off against the fierce Rin. She coldly kills him, leaving everyone stunned, not even giving him a chance to defend himself. The loss creates tension within Yuri's team, but Akira steps in to keep them united, ensuring they don't show any weakness in front of the enemy. And now it's Shin's turn. Shin's opponent is a high school girl, Ringo Tatara, calm, collected, and seemingly unbeatable with her power to copy abilities, albeit at a fraction of their strength. However, Shin's invincibility only lasts a couple of seconds, making him a sitting duck for Ringo. She wisely forfeits the match, not wanting to waste time on a losing battle. Next up is Kirasaki, facing a girl who can turn pebbles into massive boulders. Despite her power, Kirasaki's swift reflexes and quick thinking allow him to deflect her attacks and cut through her projectiles with his enhanced swords. It's as though every strike she makes is futile, like a monkey throwing crap at a line and hoping something sticks. But the girl isn't so easily defeated. Instead of trying to land a fatal blow right away, she corners Kirasaki, trapping him in a field of boulders, and uses a distraction to launch a slingshot attack. However, Kirasaki sees through her plan, and in a clever move, he breaks his sword in half to create a new one, destroying her slingshot and sending her crashing to the ground in defeat. But, as fate would have it, the last laugh goes to the little girl, Karma stepping in with its signature twist. Kirasaki's overconfidence and carelessness ultimately lead to his downfall. With the home team now down 2-1, it's Akira's turn to step up. Akira, frustrated with his teammates' performances, makes it clear he doesn't care about winning. He's already figured out that losing the 5v5 won't result in anyone dying, so his main focus is to test the limits of his power, how it activates, and what extreme conditions are necessary for it to work. With a thrill of excitement in his mind, Akira begins to focus on his opponents and teammates, but nothing happens. He quickly moves to the second phase of his plan, scaring his opponent into activating his hand cannon with his own belief, which freaks out his enemy and causes them to make a move. Akira realizes that the people on the enemy's sidelines won't trigger his ability, so he has to rely on mutual engagement between him and the target. Using his brain and a little strategy, he throws a shoe at a bystander to force him to raise his hand off the ground, revealing the guy's ability to nullify powers by touching the ground. With this, Akira manages to win the match, summarizing his findings with one clear rule: there must be mutual engagement between myself and the target, or it's useless. Now it's time for the fifth match, Yuri against her stalker. With rage and determination in her eyes, Yuri quadruples her physical stats and charges at the creep, knocking the wind out of him with a single gut punch. Akira, watching from the sidelines, realizes that Yuri's ability could become unstoppable once she fully masters it. After the home team's victory in the 5v5, Mion appears out of nowhere to hand out the prize and punishment. The grand prize? A fancy meal served by the losing team, who must wear bunny girl suits. It's a surprising treat, especially with the sight of the redhead hottie in a bunny suit, much to Akira's delight. But of course, he ruins the fun by suggesting Kirasaki join the losers for getting carried. The next day, the team says their goodbyes and heads off to the next stage. Akira uses his charm to make things work with Yuri, hopeful that their interactions will play a crucial role in his future plans. The third program has begun, and they step into the dark unknown. The announcer gives Akira a brief rundown of the mission ahead. He must collect 1,000 points to advance, with each knockout earning him a measly 10 points. The quest will be ongoing, a long, challenging journey. As Akira begins plotting his strategy, he's interrupted by a man named Katsuya Saito, who speaks in a thick Kansai dialect and approaches Akira with an odd greeting. "I came to solicit you." Before Akira can process much, Yuri comes running towards him at full speed, clearly being chased by a group of losers. How do we know they're losers? Just take one look at them and you'll understand. Among the group, one lucky loser has the hand cannon ability, which makes Yuri remark that they have the same power as her boy, implying that the hand cannon can activate if they believe the person using it has it too, fulfilling the condition for mutual combat. They make a quick escape, leaving the team virgins behind, and they're left wondering how to report to their boss, who's sitting ominously in the dark. Meanwhile, Akira and Yuri head toward the green team's camp, a faction made up of kids, elderly folks, and women. Akira is intrigued by how such a diverse and large group manages to survive, especially in a place that's so hostile. After an awkward but wholesome interaction with a camp member, they meet the team's leader, Yudo Shirasagi, an old man who invites them to join the faction. The Greens are in dire need of members with strong abilities, so Akira and Yuri's rare powers, like the hand cannon and the ability to multiply physical strength, seem to be a perfect fit. However, Akira is not keen on the idea of being forced into someone else's cause, so he makes a dramatic move. He raises his hand, threatening to fire the hand cannon and blaze his own path. But to his surprise, the cannon doesn't activate. Akira quickly realizes that either Yudo doesn't believe he has the power, or there's something else going on. Perhaps Yudo has an ability that nullifies others' powers. Yuri urges Akira to stand down, and when he does, the hand cannon appears, confirming that Yudo's calm demeanor was hiding a deeper understanding. After testing Akira's power, Yudo and Akira come to an understanding. Akira will join the Greens, and Yudo will lead. Just as they finalize their arrangement, an elderly woman enters the room, informing Yudo that they're running out of housing space due to the influx of new recruits. Akira, ever the smooth talker, suggests that he and Yuri share a room, much to her surprise, and perhaps to her growing curiosity about what Akira's up to. Once under the same roof, Yuri's mind starts racing with wild speculations. Her heart skips a beat when Akira hands her a letter. After reading it, her embarrassment turns into confusion. Akira has written that his true power is telepathy. It seems like the layers of mystery surrounding Akira are only just beginning to unfold. Unable to believe it, especially after witnessing his skills firsthand, Akira urges Yuri to open her mind and attempt to connect through telepathy. Shockingly, they succeed. Their minds sync, and they can now communicate silently. The main man then advises Yuri to rely on telepathy from that moment on, suspecting that others might be monitoring them to ensure they aren't a threat. The pair agrees to learn more about each other and their goals, solidifying their partnership. When Akira reveals that telepathy isn't his true ability, it's his power to deceive and manifest abilities in others, Yuri takes it in stride. Soon, a new challenge arrives, a large-scale subjugation quest known as Ghouls Hunting. The leaders of the Red Team, Hajime and Masaya, see it as the perfect opportunity to eliminate their so-called slaves. The next day, Yubito, determined to score big points, organizes his men into smaller groups, with Akira and Yuri tasked to pair up, being the strongest duo. As the group gathers at the hunting ground, the battle begins. The team works well together, cutting down ghouls effortlessly. Akira, ever observant, studies the other leaders' abilities, scouting for new powers to leverage. Akira reflects on his abilities, able to switch between canon and telepathy with ease. The Red Team leaders, noticing his talents, watch him closely, but Akira is aware of their scrutiny. Meanwhile, Masaya forces his slaves into a brutal sacrifice, charging them to their deaths to ensure they don't abandon their mission. Chaos erupts when Mian raises the stakes by summoning a massive cat ghoul. Just as Akira is about to be crushed, Yudo Shirasagi steps in, using his peaceful negotiation power to tank the cat's attacks and turn the damage back at the beast, ultimately leveling it, but not without injury. The battle continues, and while Yudo sacrifices himself to buy time, Yuri refuses to leave Akira's side. She rushes to help, and Akira stays back to support her, much to Mion's delight. The pair attempts a new strategy using a teleport ability they observed from a commander. They manage to teleport just in time to strike, but the cat ghoul is far tougher than expected and recovers. The red team leaders, Hajime and Masaya, descend to finish the job, but Hajime's actions are less about heroism and more about boredom, seeking chaos. Mion too revels in the unfolding madness, ensuring the fight continues. As a new quest, Hunt the King, is announced. Both teams must choose a king to protect while the opposing team hunts them down. Points are awarded for defeating members of the other team and forcing them into handcuffs, rendering them powerless. Masaya, the red team's second in command, imposes the harsh rule that the losing team must perish. Mion, ever ready for conflict, agrees to the terms, much to Yuto's dismay. Peace is temporary, and with the next quest on the horizon, Akira and Yuri return to camp. While Yuri showers, Yuto confronts Akira, probing him about the true nature of his power. Having observed Akira's actions during the boss fight, Yuto is certain there's more to his abilities. Akira doesn't deny it, but chooses not to reveal the truth, instead assuring Yuto that his trust will be well placed. He's determined to defeat the Reds. Elsewhere, a teen girl from the green team, collecting wood, is ambushed by a red faction member. Just as things take a turn for the worse, Shin, a macho wrestler, appears and saves her. This event leads to Shin joining the Greens, a much-needed addition since their offensive power has been weakened by injuries. Meanwhile, Akira contemplates their current situation, analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of their team. Ringo, the short girl from Phase 2, approaches Akira to thank him for saving her from the red attacker. She brings up his true power, which seems to unsettle him. Yuri, walking by, sees the two talking and gets confused when Akira quickly ushers Ringo to their room. Inside, Ringo reveals her ability, the power to copy others' abilities at a fraction of their power, just 1/10. She offers to partner up, hoping that Akira can make the most out of her skill. However, Akira turns her down, and Ringo leaves with a lingering look at Yuri. Later, Akira asks Yuri to accompany him to the blue team's territory. Meanwhile, a red faction member who was defeated by Shin escapes and heads back to his camp. The red leaders gather for another meeting, with one of them showing clear disdain for Rin, though Masaya calms the tension. The escaped soldier reports to Masaya that during a previous battle, a kid should have died from a ghoul's attack, but instead he survived and fought back with a cannon, revealing the kid might have multiple abilities. Back on the move, Akira asks Yuri to demonstrate how her ability works so he can try it. Unfortunately, his body isn't suited for such a strain. Unlike Yuri, who uses it instinctively, Akira realizes he will need training to harness it. In the meantime, Akira asks Yuri to imagine him shape-shifting into someone specific. Yuri envisions Ringo, and Akira realizes that Ringo had offered a partnership and even warned him to tell Yuri about their conversation as a form of insurance. Akira and Yuri continue their journey to meet Omoto, the leader of the blue team. They propose a partnership, but Omoto is skeptical about joining the games with the Greens. Akira attempts to convince him by offering points, but Omoto still hesitates, unsure about the green team's firepower. He counters by demanding Yuri as part of the deal. Akira firmly refuses, valuing Yuri's rare ability too much. The negotiation turns when Akira proposes that Omoto join the fight himself, believing the lazy leader is a hidden powerhouse. Impressed, Omoto agrees to bring the offer to his people and allows anyone interested to join the games. The duo then runs into Kirasaki, who's still on the receiving end of Akira's playful jabs. When they return to camp, the leader informs them that some members have opted to join the games as supporters, including a sweet-looking elderly lady. The next day, a referee gathers the Greens to introduce the competition's playground. Mion explains the rules. There are towers scattered throughout the forest, and teams that capture these towers will earn special points that grant powerful perks, such as locating a person, reviving a fallen team member, sealing abilities, or even discovering secret information about the hostess with the mustache. With the rules clear, both teams register their kings and make plans to capture the towers. While Old Man Yuto stays back, coordinating the team's tower captures, Team Red's leader, Hajime, suddenly appears at the front line. His overwhelming violence dominates the battlefield, setting the stage for the next chaotic chapter of the games. One must admit, the chick facing off against him really put up a good fight. Meanwhile, every other team's hit by a red leader, Despite the Green's numerical advantage, they're no match for the powerful abilities of their seasoned enemies. Speaking of experienced players, Rin makes a deal with the big boss himself and even tries to seduce Akira. But he's no simp, he's a gamer. And let's face it, hating women is practically in his DNA. After Akira leaves, Rin makes a call, probably to keep tabs on him. Back with Big Shin, he confronts a slippery figure who's taken out his new comrades. The cuffs around his hands are shrinking, and the guy's cutting the string. Shin might soon be next. Meanwhile, the Reds plan to divide and conquer. Yuri arrives on the scene with a flying kick, taking on Hajime to save Ashoka. Akira, always a step ahead, had already told Yuri to use her speed and agility to weaken the big guy before landing a powerful knee when he closed in. Back at camp, the Greens catch a spy in their ranks. Rinko tries to get him to talk and succeeds, but when she returns with water, she finds him dead. Another spy has infiltrated their camp. You wouldn't guess who, the sweet old lady, a cold-blooded killer working undercover for the Reds. Watching Yuri argue with Akira before she heads to Shimasuka, it's clear the home team is falling apart. Akira feels it deep down. Speaking of home team drama, Akira's old buddy Kurosaki shows up, looking to settle the score. But this was all part of Akira's grand plan. Rin made the call to make Kurosaki think he was getting an honorable rematch, but Akira was just using him for the real boss battle. Now they're facing off against Ruji, an executive of the Red Team. The boys retreat to strategize, but execution fails as the old man is too fast. Luckily, Akira had a plan B, shooting through trees to create wood splinters, ammo for his buddy to use from above to take down the Ball Samurai. Elsewhere, Queen B1's neck gets snapped by a dying nun, only for her to rise like a demon. She was about to strike the nun but halts upon sensing Rin's presence. The two girls, despite being on the same team, were ready to eliminate each other during the war. After a fierce struggle, Rin uses her blood to take down the crazy chick, turning her into a shish kebab before restraining her with some mysterious cuffs. Rin then makes a run for it, stabbing a cart to render the demon lady unconscious. Turns out, Queen Bee was a doll controlled by a guy in a box, adding a whole new layer of chaos. Rin explains she's playing both sides to ensure her survival. If she kills a Red General, the Greens will think she's with them. If they lose, she'll take out the doll man, who's clearly after her life. A true win-win scenario, no loose ends. As for Shin, things aren't looking good. The shrinking man is taking him apart, but the girl he helped earlier swoops in to save him, only to get attacked herself. Shin takes the knife for her. Through a flashback, we learn about Shin's older brother, a pro wrestler who passed away in a car accident. But even in death, Big Bro is with him, telling him there's no shame in using his abilities. And that's the strength he carries forward. In a flash of raw power, Shin activates his invincible ability, donning an epic Dark Souls-esque armor. With a battle cry, he charges into the fray, steamrolling through the enemy. An arrogant foe who never stood a chance. Meanwhile, Katsuya experiences his own moment of reflection. He looks back at his life of crime, void of meaning. But deep inside, he longed for family, a place where he truly belonged, something he found in this chaotic program. Just as hope seemed distant, Akira makes his timely entrance, saving Katsuya, who now finds himself on a mission to save someone dear to him. After a tense back and forth showcasing their abilities, the old man, a former ally, attempts to take down our protagonist. But Akira's hidden ace, the red samurai sword, flashes to life, triggering memories of his fallen comrade's power, the one ability that could defeat him. The old man falters, and it's clear. Akira had masterminded the entire situation, letting slip just enough of the truth to manipulate everyone's expectations. With that, the battle ends in a decisive victory. Elsewhere at camp, a seemingly sweet old lady makes her move on Yuto, but the old man is more than prepared. Always the suspicious one, he uncovers the truth. She's no ally. Once loyal to the Green faction, the old lady reveals her disillusionment after learning that the Reds' leadership are now her true enemies. In a desperate play, she threatens Asuka's baby, demanding Yuto's interface in exchange for the child's life. With no other choice, Yuto hands it over. But the game is far from over. The real king of the Greens isn't the old man, it's the main player himself. The old lady presses for the truth, but Ringo, recalling her king's words, rises to the challenge. She mimics the cannon ability, though weaker, firing faster than ever. The battle rages on, but neither side wants to harm the baby. Realizing this, Ringo proposes a truce to protect the child. But as the old lady resorts to dirty tricks, Ringo finds herself at a disadvantage. Just when things seem bleak, Ringo takes a desperate shot at a cliff, pretending to kill the baby. The old lady, fooled by the decoy, panics and drops her guard. With the truth revealed, Ringo stands victorious. Yet the old lady still clings to her twisted ways. As she prepares for a deadly attack, Ringo traps her under the rubble, securing the win for now. Back in the heat of battle, Akira faces Messiah, who turns the tables on his adversary with a devastating twist. Using his ability to control others, Messiah showcases the superiority of his powers, forcing Akira into a corner. Akira, however, isn't so easily defeated. He uses his sharp wit to buy time, confronting Messiah with his past ambitions, the dream of building a kingdom. Messiah, ever the tactician, waits until Akira thinks he's safe, only to use his dead ability to bind him. The plan seemed foolproof. Messiah had foreseen Akira's multiple abilities and prepared accordingly. But Akira wasn't playing by the same rules. With a cunning move, he makes Messiah think he's in control, while Akira activates his own power at the perfect moment. It's a gamble, but it works. Messiah falls, his range shattered, while Akira, though battered, stands victorious. A living testament to his resilience. And in the end, the slaves are freed, the enemy defeated, and Akira remains, his arm bruised, but his spirit unbroken. The game continues, but for now, the main man stands tall. Akira's stomach was fine. Thanks to a couple of steaks cleverly hidden beneath his shirt, he explains how, during the 7-day truce, he had been preparing for this war. He shape-shifted into a Red faction member, infiltrating their ranks. Akira planted subtle clues for them to uncover, cues to study the Red's abilities, while also learning about the slaves he could potentially use against his enemies, setting up countermeasures as the war unfolded. With #2 down, all that remained was the top dog, #1. And let's just say this wasn't going to be an easy fight. Poor Kurosaki, broken like a twig, was tossed aside, unable to catch a break. The tension was thick, and the stakes higher than ever. You know it's serious when the villain starts crying. A flashback unfolds, revealing the old lady's tragic past and the pain that fueled his rage. He and his comrade, raised in the orphanage where she worked, dreamed of building a kingdom after reading a fairy tale in a book. But that dream was crushed when the caretaker, in a violent outburst, stomped on their book and beat them senseless. Her cruelty may have even led to a life lost, leaving the big lug unable to control his anger, slipping into berserk mode whenever provoked. Despite all this, Yuri refuses to believe he's a monster. She sees something of herself and her little girlfriend in him. Determined to change his path, Yuri decides to step in. Matching his brutal punches with her broken arm, she sacrifices it to shatter his. She defends his onslaught of blows like a champion, leaving the big guy to wonder how much longer she can go. Just as she's about to deliver the final blow, her powers fail, and her cuff activities are nullified. Turns out Messiah wasn't done yet. Using another player's interface, he faked his own defeat and sealed Yuri's abilities with his remaining points before his own demise. In the aftermath, Mion's notification reaches Akira, who uses his own points to broadcast a message. "Stop this, Hajime. Face me, man to man, king to king." Messiah had already died the moment Yuri's powers were sealed, but Hajime, stubborn as ever, insists on seeking revenge, despite his fallen friend's wish for him to win and build the kingdom they dreamed of. And so the main event begins. Once the countdown hits 0, Hajime charges forward, recalling his late friend's words about Akira's power. But in the heat of battle, Akira calls out to Yuri, urging her to think of their new ability. A devastating one-punch move strong enough to end it all. Hajime hesitates, reflecting on his life, realizing it's not about where they are now, but about the friends they made along the way. Those were his last words before Akira delivers the final blow. Victory in hand, Mion appears with one last task for Akira, followed by his prize and a trip to treat the wounded. While washing by the river, the leader of Team Blue congratulates Akira, having witnessed everything. Of course, Akira starts calculating his next move, trying to gather as much info as possible. But the blue lad stops him, raising his hand. I've seen this ability before. With a flick of his wrist, the lad shoots, wounding Akira but not killing him. He then delivers a chilling message. Tell the cat girl I'm coming for her, and I'll need your help to do it. We'll meet again in the fourth phase. Akira slips into unconsciousness, but when he wakes, he finds himself back in his room as if nothing had happened. The day proceeds like normal, but then he encounters the best girl, confirming that it wasn't just a dream after all.